Hello, and welcome to our Real Estate Action Homebuyer Seminar. Today we're going to talk about the opportunity as a first-time buyer, also the possibility of moving up from the home that you have into a second residence, and we're going to talk a little bit about opportunities, investment opportunities in the real estate market today. My name is Rick Dubord. I'm the president of Home Life Realty Services, and to my left is Ainsley Beattie. Ainsley is with Global Mortgage, and to my right, two of our sales representatives from Home Life Benchmark Realty. To my immediate right is Devin Rogers, and to my far right is Mark Donovan. A little bit of background on myself. I've been in the business for a good number of years, which you can probably tell by the gray hair. As I mentioned, I'm president of Home Life Realty Services, and I have a real passion for technology. Actually introduced the first virtual tours in Western Canada, started up a company called cvirtual360.com, and I'm connected in real estate with the Broker Council and also a director of the Real Estate Brokers Association of British Columbia. You've probably seen these headlines recently or something similar where it says, "Realtors are prowling like hungry tigers. Sales are off by 43%. Vancouver prices will not be seen in this decade. There is no financing for anyone." Do you recall seeing that just recently? Well, actually, these headlines are from 1974. The average selling price at that time was $54,000. Interestingly, I bought my first home in 1973 when I joined the real estate industry. I purchased a 1,200 square foot home down in the Brookswood area, south area of Langley. Actually, here's the property. You can see it on the screen here. It's on 43rd Avenue. I paid $53,000 for it. And if you've been around as long as I have, you might recall that that was when the NDP got into power. Our premier was David Barrett. And when they first got into power, they introduced the Agricultural Land Reserve. And if you remember, interest rates were up at 12%. I remember when I first got into the business, I talked to some of the senior consultants, and they said, well, don't bother going out and getting any listings because interest rates are too high and there's no market out there. And so that's how I kind of started my real estate industry. I went on from there, and I remember selling a few lots down in the South Langley area for $3,500. So that was a few years ago. But as I said, I purchased my first home in 1974 for $53,000. And in 2004, you can see that same home sold for $374,900, and then in 2008, October, it sold for $515,000. As I mentioned, we were going to talk a little bit about some of the investments that I've been involved in. And back in January of 2002, I purchased a fourplex home which had good revenue, 4 units producing revenue. To help with the financing of it, I paid $367,000, and then in January '05, I sold it for $545,000, and then the purchaser subsequently in April of '09 ended up selling that same property for $635,000. So you can see how the property has appreciated over the years. And then in June of 2000, I purchased some units in a place called Grandview up in North Langley on 134th Street. These units originally sold for over $100,000 in 1996, and then in June of 2000 I paid $49,000. Now the reason behind that is we were in a depressed market, and of course you probably recall the leaky condo syndrome that we went through. Well, because of that, I was able to buy some units in there for $49,000. And in February '08, the same units in there sold for $208,880. And then from there, you can see where the market has come off, where those same units of January '09 sold for $169,000. So that's an indication of what's happened in the market in the last little while. The prices have come off. They're certainly more affordable. Now, the Greater Vancouver area, or Vancouver, all the national or international surveys that have been conducted, we are always have been in the top 10. There was one that came out approximately a month ago, and we were in the #1 position. So the last surveys that were conducted were either number 1 or 1 through to 3. And when they conduct these surveys, they take into consideration our natural amenities, climate and education, of course the political scene, employment, and then they look at the security. And Vancouver has always placed right up at the top because of taking all that into consideration. So it is a desired place to live, and if you do live in Canada, people always talk about retiring out to the West Coast. And as we know, supply and demand is a major factor in establishing pricing, certainly in the real estate industry. And in the Greater Vancouver area, it's kind of a unique situation because we're living in a corridor here, which goes right out to Chilliwack, and then of course to the north we have our mountains, and then in the south we have the water, and then as I mentioned earlier we have the agricultural land reserve. Well, in actual fact we have a limited amount of real estate. If you compare it to say the prairies or back in Ontario, real estate just seems to go on forever there, so we have a limited amount of real estate to deal with, and of course, as I said, supply and demand comes in, and that's why historically our prices have always been higher than the rest of Canada, and that trend will continue. Today's opportunity, well, when you look at unemployment, we're at 7%, and if you consider of the 7%, 4% are second-generation recipients of that are on welfare. So really, if you look at it objectively, there's only 3% of the population out there that want to work that are unemployed. Prices in some areas are off 25 to 30%. Interest rates are at an all-time low. You can pick up a 10-year mortgage in the 4% range. There's a great selection of properties out there, and really you couldn't pick a better time to purchase. And when you think about it, when are people buying? When prices are going up. Everybody's lined up and they're looking to go out there and get involved in purchasing real estate. But when prices are coming off or they're low, people have a tendency to sit back and wait. And really the time that you do want to buy, and my experience has been I've always purchased when things have slowed down and you can go out and you can do the cherry picking when you can make a good purchase. So in order to get us started, the first thing that you want to do is you want to get qualified. And so at this point, we're going to turn the presentation over to Ainsley to talk about financing.
Hi, I'm Ainsley Beattie, accredited mortgage professional with Global Mortgages. If you're thinking about buying a home, the first step is to consult with an accredited mortgage professional, or formerly known as an AMP. An AMP is the highest educated individual in the industry today. We shop around all the big brand banks as well as the smaller lenders and find the absolute lowest rate and best product for you. An AMP is a free service to consumers. There is no cost to you. Once you have obtained a qualified pre-approval, you will know exactly what you can spend and what your monthly cost will be. That way there will be no surprises down the road. Let's look at some of the costs associated with buying a home. You'll have your down payment, which is a minimum of 5%. Legal fees are anywhere from $900 to $1,100. You'll have an appraisal cost, if applicable, of $250. An inspection cost, anywhere from $300 to $500. And then you will have your property purchase tax and CMHC fees, if it's applicable for you. Here's an example of a common mortgage today. Purchase price of $300,000, down payment of 5%, which is $15,000. Your CMHC cost of $7,837, which is a total mortgage of just over $292,000. Your payment based on a 25-year would be $1,523, and on a 35-year, $1,272. Here's an example of an investment property. Purchase price of $150,000, down payment of $7,500, CMHC cost of $9,263, total mortgage of $151,763. Your monthly payment based on a 25-year would be $782, and based on a 35-year would be $650. Other monthly costs to remember are property taxes, which can be paid monthly or annually, strata fee, if applicable, utilities such as terrace and cable, hydro, etc., and home insurance, which would cover you for fire, earthquake, and contents. Thank you.